The rain hammered down on the muddy fields of Fort Jackson, South Carolina, a relentless downpour that turned the ground into a slick, unforgiving mess. Private First Class Elena Martinez stood at attention, her uniform soaked through, her dark hair plastered to her forehead under her cap. She was 19, wiry, with eyes that burned with a quiet defiance no one in her platoon had yet noticed. The other recruits sneered as she struggled through the obstacle course, her small frame slipping in the mud, her arms trembling under the weight of her rucksack. "City girls gonna wash out by week 2, one of them muttered, loud enough for her to hear. Elena's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. She never did, not yet. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join our community of story lovers, so we've got a wild ride ahead. It was week 1 of basic training, and Elena was already the outcast. The other recruits, a mix of cocky high school jocks and small-town tough guys, saw her as an easy target. She was from East Los Angeles, raised in a neighborhood where survival meant keeping your head down and your guard up. But here, in the grueling crucible of boot camp, her silence was mistaken for weakness. During morning drills, Private Daniel saw a hulking farm boy from Nebraska who would accidentally bump her, knocking her into the dirt. "Oops, didn't see you there, Martinez," he'd say, grinning as the others laughed. The drill sergeants, stone-faced and relentless, didn't intervene. They watched, waiting for the week to break. Elena didn't break. She got up, wiped the mud from her face, and kept moving. But inside, something was building, a fire she'd kept buried her whole life. The commander of the training company, Captain James Harrow, was a man who'd seen it all. A 20-year veteran with a chest full of medals and a stare that could stop a charging bull. He ran his unit like a machine. Harrow didn't tolerate failure, and he didn't play favorites. He noticed Elena, thought ooh, and not because she stood out, but because she didn't. She was average in every measurable way. Average height, average speed, average marksmanship scores. But there was something in her eyes, a flicker of steel he couldn't quite place. He dismissed it. Boot camp had a way of sorting out who belonged and who didn't. By week 3, he figured, she'd either toughen up or quit. The mockery grew worse as the weeks dragged on. During night marches, when the platoon trudged through the humid Carolina darkness, someone would whisper, "Bet Martinez trips and cries for mommy." During weapons training, when Elena's rifle jammed, Private Daniels snorted, "Maybe try a water gun next time, princess." The others laughed, and Elena's cheeks burned, but she kept her focus on the task, her fingers steady as she cleared the jam. She wasn't here to make friends. She was here for a reason no one knew, not the recruits, not the sergeants, not even Captain Harrow. That reason was inked into her skin, hidden beneath her uniform, a secret she carried like a grenade with the pin half pulled. By week 5, the platoon was sent on a 10-mile ruck march through the swampy backwoods of the base. The air was thick, the mosquitoes relentless, and the weight of their gear felt like it could crush bones. Elena's boots sank into the muck with every step, her shoulders screaming under the 60-pound pack. Daniels, marching behind her, kept up a steady stream of taunts. "You're slowing us down, Martinez. Why don't you just quit? Nobody wants you here." The words stung, but Elena's mind was elsewhere. She was thinking of a night 3 years ago, a night of sirens and blood, a night that changed everything. She gritted her teeth and pushed forward, her breath ragged but steady. Halfway through the march, disaster struck. The platoon crossed a narrow wooden bridge over a swollen creek, the water churning below. Private Daniels, still needling Elena, shoved past her on the slick planks. His boot caught her ankle, and she stumbled, her pack pulling her off balance. She hit the bridge hard, her knee slamming into the wood. The platoon kept moving, leaving her behind. Daniels glanced back, smirking. "Told you she couldn't hack it." Elena's hands gripped the edge of the bridge, her knuckles white. For a moment, she was back in East LA, crouched in an alley, her brother's voice fading as the ambulance lights flashed. She shook the memory off, hauled herself up, and kept going. She didn't know it, but Captain Harrow, watching from a distance, saw the whole thing. His face stayed unreadable, but he made a mental note. The turning point came during week 7, at the confidence course, a brutal gauntlet of ropes, walls, and mud pits designed to break even the strongest recruits. The platoon was split into teams, and Elena's team included Daniels and 2 of his buddies, who made it clear they saw her as dead weight. The final obstacle was the Warrior Wall, a 12-foot wooden barrier that required teamwork to scale. Daniels' crew deliberately ignored her, climbing over and leaving her stranded at the base. The drill sergeant, a wiry man named Sergeant Brooks, barked, "Martinez, you got 30 seconds to get over that wall, or you're out." The platoon watched, expecting her to fail. Elena's heart pounded. She could hear her brother's voice again, faint but clear. "You're stronger than they know, Lena." She sprinted at the wall, leapt, and caught the edge with her fingertips. Her arms burned as she pulled herself up, inch by agonizing inch, until she rolled over the top and dropped to the other side. The platoon went silent. Sergeant Brooks raised an eyebrow. "Not bad, Martinez," he muttered. For the first time, Elena felt the spark of something new, respect. But the real shock came the next day, during a rare moment of downtime. The platoon was allowed a brief swim in the Bass's Lake to cool off after a grueling day of drills. Elena, who'd always kept her uniform buttoned up, hesitated. She didn't want to change in front of the others, didn't want to reveal what she'd kept hidden. But the heat was unbearable, and she had no choice. She stripped down to her regulation tank top, her back exposed for the first time. That's when it happened. Private Daniels, lounging by the water, caught sight of her and froze. His jaw dropped, his usual smirk gone. The others noticed, turning to see what had shut him up. There, across Elena's upper back, was a tattoo, a stunning, intricate design of a phoenix rising from flames. Its wings spread wide, the ink vivid against her skin. But it wasn't just the artistry that stopped them cold. At the base of the phoenix, in bold black letters, was a name, Mateo, and below it, a date, June 14, 2022. Captain Harrow, who'd been overseeing the group from a distance, walked over, his boots crunching on the gravel. He stopped dead when he saw the tattoo. His eyes narrowed, and for the first time, the unflappable commander looked shaken. "Martinez," he said, his voice low but sharp. "What's that on your back?" The platoon went quiet, the air thick with tension. Elena turned, her expression calm but unyielding. "It's for my brother, sir," she said. "He died 3 years ago. Gang drive-by in LA. I joined the army to honor him." Harrow's face changed, a flicker of something, a recognition, maybe, or guilt crossing his features. He didn't say another word, just nodded and walked away. But the platoon was different after that. Daniels stopped talking. The others stopped laughing. Elena wasn't just the city girl anymore. The truth came out later, in whispers among the recruits. Captain Harrow had a past, one he didn't talk about. He'd grown up in a rough neighborhood too, lost a younger brother to violence when he was just a kid. Elena's tattoo, her story, had hit him like a punch to the gut. He didn't show it, but he started watching her closer, pushing her harder in drills, not to break her but to test her. And Elena rose to it. By week 9, she was leading runs, passing her marksmanship tests, and barking orders during team exercises with a confidence that silenced her doubters. Daniels, humbled, even muttered an apology one night in the barracks. Elena just nodded. She didn't need his approval anymore. Graduation day was a spectacle. The sun blazed over the parade field as families cheered from the stands. Elena stood tall in her crisp dress uniform, her eyes locked forward as Captain Harrow pinned the Army service ribbon to her chest. He paused, his hand lingering for a moment longer than necessary. "You're a soldier, Martinez," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Your brother would be proud." Elena's throat tightened, but she held her salute, her eyes glistening. As the ceremony ended, the platoon surrounded her, not with mockery but with handshakes and nods. She'd earned their respect, not by fighting back with words, but by proving herself where it mattered. As Elena walked off the field, her parents waiting in the crowd with tears in their eyes, she touched the dog tags around her neck. They weren't hers, so they were Mateo's, the ones he'd worn when he dreamed of enlisting before a bullet stole his future. She'd carried them through every muddy mile, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt. The phoenix on her back wasn't just ink, it was a promise. She'd rise, not just for herself, but for him. Hey, thanks for watching this story all the way through. It means a lot. Drop a comment below and let me know. From which part of the country are you watching this video? Can't wait to hear from you.